Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to a random review. Today's random review comes from 1984, and it's Hookers on Davie from Canadian International Pictures. This is CIP Spy number 33, one of the Vinegar Syndrome partner labels. And this is not an exploitation film, even though it sounds and looks like it. It's actually a documentary about the hookers on Davie Street in Vancouver in Canada. It's directed by Janice Cole and Holly Dale, and it's quite fantastic. This is actually 4K for some reason. So 4K and the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray has the biggest chunk of extras, and there's also a lovely little booklet about and essays and pictures about the film. So this starts on a high note, almost literally. It starts with a montage of the prostitutes kicking about the Davie Street area in Vancouver, to the strains of street life by the Crusaders. I love the Crusaders, so that got me hooked, if you'll pardon the pun, immediately. So we got a lovely montage. So we have women, trans women, and male prostitutes. Now for 1984, the fact that it actually shows trans women, and as we get to know some of the characters, there's 3 trans women that become kind of major characters in the film, which again for 1984 is pretty forward thinking. So how Cole and Dale did it, they had a van that was blacked out. They obviously had these women agree to be mic'd up, and they just sat in their van for hours, for weeks, filming what was going on. And then once we kind of get the filming and seeing the day-to-day and the routine of these women, we also see them in this kind of bar slash restaurant where they go on their breaks, and they talk and chit chat and fall out with each other and fall back in with each other. And then we kind of get interviews about the 3 trans women, and I think there's about 3 non-trans women, or women as they're called in the business. And again, you just slowly piece together these people, and you actually start liking some of them. And obviously your first kind of reaction is to give them a hug and try and make sure that they're alright by the end of the film. There's a foreword by one of the directors and an afterword by both, just an audio, and sadly the afterword is a bit sad, because as you can guess, not all the women featured in the film live happily ever after. Also, this is 40 years later. In the end of the film, they kind of all band together, because you really get an idea that this is a kind of community, because Davie Street area was the area where they kept pimps away, so they're all kind of independent workers, and they kind of have each other's backs against guys that are causing trouble or whatever. And again, we hear horror stories of the women being pretty much taken to parking lots and threatened with knives and guns, pretty much so the guys don't pay for the sexual activity. But they kind of band together, and near the end of the film we see them going on a march to actually try and get rights, which again is a lovely, hopeful Hollywood way of ending near the film. But of course they didn't get any rights. In fact, they were pushed to the other end of town, where they were kind of less protected. And as we find out from one of the filmmakers, over the next period of years, 65 of the women disappeared or were murdered. So the kind of city fathers who wanted rid of them from Davie Street obviously succeeded, but just got them punted to a far more dangerous area of town, where lots of them disappeared or were killed. So you do find yourself, as flawed as some of them are, you do find yourself empathising, obviously unless you're a complete psychopath. You know, obviously there's people who just look at prostitutes as horrible, terrible people, but as we see in the film, it's like, well, it's a job, kids to look after, and obviously if men weren't men, you know, the world would probably be a better place. There's a wonderful interview with one of the trans women's mum, who obviously had a hard time accepting, but is there for her daughter. But again, she is asked kind of, well, what do you think other people think? And she basically just says, other people think, thank goodness it's not my child. Obviously without any hint of comedy, because that's kind of the truth. But again, she just is very kind of pragmatic about it and says, well, it's my child and you obviously want the best for your child and you just have to roll with it, basically, and make sure they're safe. So because the directors, you know, they lived in the Hooker Hotel, as it was known, you know, for this period of time when they were making it, so they kind of bonded with these women, because sometimes in their break they would go in to this kind of restaurant, bar kind of place, and just have drinks with them and talk, you know, without cameras. So you do get this wonderful sense of, you know, community and looking after each other. I mean, obviously they do fall out with each other every now and again, but you really do get a wonderful sense of community. And again, 1984 doesn't seem that long ago to me, even though it's 40 years. But again, it gives you a wonderful look at a time that doesn't exist anymore, strangely enough. But the extras on the discs are absolutely wonderful. As I say, there's a 4K and a Blu-ray. The film itself is 89 minutes. There's a commentary by both the directors Janice Cole and Holly Dale. There's a commentary by Jordan King, who apparently is a multidisciplinary artist and curator, apparently. There's a new introduction by Janice Cole. Janice Cole is the one that's on camera, and Holly Dale is just on audio. There's a wonderful 23-minute piece from 2024, directors on Davie, with a new interview with Cole before Davie in 2024. There's a 12-minute piece with Cole on the early films. Mardy on Tiggy. From 2024, a trans elder Mardy Pirenek's tribute to her friend Tiggy, who appears in the film. Video report on the West End Sex Workers Memorial Fundraiser 2009, which is 7 minutes. Toronto Arts Award tribute to Cole and Dale in 1994, which is 4 minutes. There's a CBC interview from 1984, which is 8 minutes. A City TV interview from 1984, which is 3 minutes. Hookers on Davie Home Movies 1983, which is 34 minutes, which is exactly what it says in the tin. The Afterword featuring Cole and Dale from 2024, which is 8 minutes, which is the sad one. Cream Soda from 1975, which is 13 minutes, which is a 2K scan of Cole and Dale's first short, which was a film about a massage place, which is basically just interviewing the women and following the women. And then Minimum Charge No Cover from 1976, which is 11 minutes, which is a new 2K scan of Cole and Dale's second short, which is about a go-go dancing establishment. There's a new introduction to both shorts by Cole, new commentaries by both shorts by Cole and Dale, and there's new commentaries for both shorts featuring King, save yourself, kill them all. Hookers on Davie, original press gallery, and a booklet with 3 essays. Reversible artwork cover. Yeah, another wonderful release from CIP. Obviously not a film that you would be familiar with, I don't think. I would say it's never been on British television. I think I can safely say that. Again, it's just a sad, sometimes funny, sometimes horrific look at trying to survive as a prostitute in Vancouver, Canada in 1984, and desperate fighting for better work conditions and rights. And this Julia Roberts is nowhere to be seen. So that's Hookers on Davie. Another one in the kind of wonderfully eclectic group of films by Canadian International Pictures. They were actually involved in the restoration of this. So it's well worth checking out. I think it was available in Mubi at some point, but it's well worth a look. So thanks very much for watching. Please let me know if you've seen Hookers on Davie, both the film or, in fact, any hookers on Davie Street. And hopefully you'll join me again for more random reviews. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.